We've been together for 17 years. High school sweethearts. First love. We grew up side by side. We went through everything, ups and downs, and the birth of our 3 daughters. I truly believed we were a team, that we were forever. Then one day, she disappeared. At first, I thought something had happened. Maybe she broke down, maybe she just needed space. She didn't answer calls, didn't text, not even the kids. And then, the truth came out. 4 years of cheating. 4 years of lies. While I was building a life for us, she was tearing it down in silence, with a smile on her face. And the worst part? I never saw it coming. This is a story about trust, shattered, love, one-sided, and a man who had to pull himself together for the sake of his 3 daughters when everything around him fell apart. If you've ever felt that kind of pain, stay with me. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here to share what I'm living through. So maybe, just maybe, someone out there will feel a little less alone. My wife told me she'd been cheating on me for the past 4 years. Said she was bored. Then she walked out and stayed gone for weeks. Now, out of nowhere, she says she wants to come back. We've been married 17 years. I'm 40, she's 39. We've got 3 daughters, 11, 13, and 15. We've been together since high school, so that's about 23 years side by side. This whole thing blindsided me. I only know bits and pieces. 3 days ago, she came home from work like it was any other day. But the morning after, she rushed to pack an overnight bag and left in a hurry. I didn't even see her go. Our oldest daughter happened to be home and saw it all. Said her mom looked like she was on the edge of a full-blown breakdown, crying so hard she couldn't talk, just barely holding it together. She hasn't answered a single call or text since. Not from me, not from the girls. Nothing. I called her parents, and eventually they got back to me just to say she was with them and that she was safe. That was it. They told me to be patient and understanding, and then went quiet again. I reached out to her brother, her sister, one of her close co-workers, anyone I thought might know something. Her brother claimed he had no clue. Her co-worker said my wife came into work 3 days ago, stayed for a few hours, then left around midday, and didn't come back. That's the last anyone seems to have seen her. There's been complete silence since. It's just me and the girls now, doing our best to keep things normal when everything feels far from it. They keep asking where she is and what's going on. I tell them what little I can, that she's with her parents, and we need to be patient. But part of me wants to get in the car with the kids and just show up there. It's only a few hours drive. This waiting, not knowing anything, it's maddening. And the girls? They think we had some big fight and are headed for divorce. But that couldn't be further from the truth. We've never even argued. They know that. We always got along. I keep spinning in circles trying to make sense of this. I feel like I'm losing my grip. When something terrible happens, your first instinct is to tell your partner, to lean on them. That's what I would have done. But this time, she's the reason everything's crashing down, and I'm here picking up the pieces alone. Maybe something from her past triggered all this. I don't know. Nothing makes sense right now. So I sit here, stuck in this limbo with our daughters. No updates, no clarity, no communication. Just this overwhelming sense of confusion and fear and anger and sadness. All of it, crashing over me in waves. I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't sleep a minute that night. So I called the police and asked them to do a wellness check. Her father wouldn't return my calls, and I needed to know something. Anything. Turns out she had been cheating. For at least 2 years, maybe longer. That part, everyone seemed to suspect. But the full truth came out when the man she was seeing, her affair partner, died suddenly of a heart attack just days ago. That was the night she broke down. From what I've pieced together, her mother and sister probably knew about the affair. They might have even been covering for her. Meanwhile, she still hasn't reached out to me or the kids. Not a word. I haven't told the girls the real reason she's gone. I don't even know how I'd begin. It's like the truth itself is too heavy to say out loud. This whole thing has shaken me to the core. The person I trusted most in the world, my partner, my best friend, just disappeared into this other life I knew nothing about. The betrayal is hard to wrap my head around. I've been trying to read what others have gone through. I find myself scrolling at night, when the chaos of the day finally settles, and my brain takes over. That's when the sadness hits. And then the rage. Sometimes both at once. It makes sleep nearly impossible. So I go through my days like a ghost. Numb, just moving through the motions. I used to be proud of the life we built, the bond we had. We had our own inside jokes, our little routines. It all felt so solid. And now it's like someone flipped a switch and erased everything. I thought our affair had only lasted a couple of years. Now I know it likely went back much further. She'd known him a long time. His death was what brought everything out into the open. My oldest daughter has been helping me find answers, even though I wish she didn't have to. I'm still not ready to talk about every detail. There's just too much pain. Too many bombs dropping every day. People keep asking me if I'm going to post more or share more. I didn't plan to. I didn't think I'd need to. But the support I've received, just from strangers reaching out to say they get it, they've been there, it's meant more than I can say. I've already spoken to a couple of lawyers to understand my options. I've started making calls about therapy, but the wait lists around here are long. Still, I'm trying to take care of myself. Trying to stay healthy. I don't drink, never have. I've always stayed in good shape. But right now, finding the motivation to do anything feels almost impossible. If you're wondering about the details, who, when, where, I'm just not there yet. My focus right now is survival. Getting through the day. Trying to sleep at night. Trying to show up for my girls. Because no matter what happens next, they're the ones who need me now. And somehow, I have to figure out how to be strong for them, even when I feel like I'm falling apart inside. My wife was everything to me. We grew up together. Built a life from the ground up. I loved her with everything I had. And now, all of that's just gone. Like someone wiped the slate clean and left me sitting here alone with the dust of what used to be. Every memory feels like a punch to the gut. Every laugh we shared, every moment we celebrated, now it all feels tainted. And it hurts more than I ever thought anything could. It honestly feels like she never cared about any of it. And now, she won't be part of my future. That thought hits hard, and with it comes the inevitable question, how could you? I get flooded with this deep, burning rage. There are moments I lose control, pounding the mattress with my fists, screaming into the pillow until my arms go numb. The cycle is relentless. I don't fall asleep because I find peace. I pass out from pure exhaustion. Then I wake up, and it all starts over. The doubts, the questions, the heavy silence in my chest. Every bit of energy I have is going toward my daughters right now. They've been trying to care for me like I'm the child and they're the parents. That's not fair to them. They shouldn't have to carry this. After finding out about the affair, I couldn't stop wondering, how do people even sleep through something like this? How do you lay there at night with only your thoughts and make it to morning? The silence is unbearable. The emptiness is worse. Other than being there for my girls, the only thing I've decided is that sleep has to be my top priority if I'm going to survive this. But I'm still not managing that on my own, and I really hope someone out there can help. It's been just over a week since everything came crashing down. I'm not sure how much of the story I need to repeat anymore. What I've learned since then is even worse than I expected. The affair didn't just last 2 years, it went on for over 4. I still don't have a clear timeline. Maybe it started emotionally, then turned physical, but it's hard to say. I've even wondered if the pandemic played a role, those long lockdowns, the isolation, but I may never know. Yesterday, something strange happened. My in-laws showed up at the house out of nowhere. Since this whole thing started, my wife had been living with them. And now, suddenly, they came over to see the girls, but only stayed about 15 minutes. Just long enough for a quick hello and some hugs. Then they asked to speak with me privately. I figured it was coming, and yeah, it was a long conversation. I won't get into all the details here, but the short version is that my wife wants to come back home. She's scared, though. Afraid of what she's done. Afraid of what it'll mean to face the fallout. Her parents, meanwhile, clearly just want her out of their house. They admitted to doing some digging, trying to figure out if I was planning to file for divorce. And they made it very clear they were hoping I'd forgive her. They want me to take her back, keep the family together. It was all polite. Courteous, even. But I could tell they were ashamed. Embarrassed by her actions. They seemed desperate to patch things up, not just for her sake, but for their own peace of mind. I told them I didn't know what my next steps would be. That wasn't exactly the truth. I planned to file for divorce. But I couldn't tell them that, not yet. Part of me feels like if I do, I'll never hear the truth. I may never get the full picture of what really happened. And deep down, I want her to sit across from me and be honest. Look me in the eye and explain everything. Not because I'm still holding on to hope, but because I need closure. 17 years of marriage. A lifetime of memories. 3 kids. Everything we built. I want her to acknowledge what she threw away. I want my daughters to see that I gave her the chance to take responsibility and do the right thing, not for the sake of getting back together, but to end this the right way. As adults. With honesty. I keep asking myself if I'm doing this right. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I did talk to a lawyer, though, and he made one thing clear. Legally, I can't stop her from coming back to the house. I don't have that power, no matter how much I wish I did. Truth is, the girls and I have started settling into something like a routine. It's not perfect, but it's ours. So I told her she could come back, but only if she sat down with me, face to face, and told me the whole truth. Everything. No dodging, no lies, no holding back. I want to hear it all, from beginning to end. That was the deal. After that, I said she would need to sit down with the girls and apologize. Look them in the eyes and answer their questions. They deserve that much. They already know what she did. The least she can do is face them. She's legally allowed to return at any time. I know that. I can't stop it. But maybe, just maybe, she's afraid of how we'll react. I don't want to manipulate her or trap her. That's not what this is. I just don't want to go back to living under the same roof yet. I'm trying to buy time to get my mind right. Emotionally, mentally, I need space. In my state, we have a 90-day waiting period before divorce proceedings can begin. I'm using that time to breathe. She says she doesn't want a divorce. She's been texting the girls, apologizing again and again. I've seen the messages. She asks about me every day. And from what I hear, the reality of what she's done is starting to sink in, especially this past week. But I keep asking myself, am I doing the right thing? Was my request too much? Too harsh? I know she'll be back sooner or later. That's inevitable. And I'm not afraid of that anymore. I've accepted it. It's going to happen. I just want to make the right choices for the girls. For me. For whatever comes next. And I really do appreciate everyone who's shown me kindness, offering advice, support, even just encouragement. That's meant the world. And then she came back. After everything that happened over the weekend, she walked through the front door yesterday. There'd been so much build-up leading to that moment. I'd been imagining how it would go, what I would say. Usually, when she came home, I'd greet her with a hug, a kiss. But this time, there was nothing but a strange tension in the air. It felt cold. Awkward. She came right up to me, tried to hug me. And I stepped back. I couldn't do it. It was surreal. Like she thought we could just pick up where we left off. I asked her to calm down, to sit with me, and tell me everything. And just like before, she said she wasn't ready. That's what she told me on the phone earlier in the week, too. That she wasn't ready to talk about it yet. I reminded her that the only thing I asked, the only thing I needed, was for her to be honest. To love this family enough to explain why she disappeared for 3 weeks. She said it again. She just wasn't ready. I stood there, trying to keep myself from exploding. Took a few deep breaths, did everything I could to stay calm. But inside, I was screaming. I didn't keep it together. After what felt like an eternity of silence, I finally spoke up, blunt and raw. I told her I knew everything. That she'd been sleeping with a coworker for over 4 years. That she had been planning to leave me for him. That she ghosted her entire family like we didn't exist. And now here she was, back in our home, standing in front of me without even doing the one thing I'd asked, tell me the truth. I told her I wanted a divorce. That's when things got weird. Her face said it all. The wide eyes, the way her posture shifted, she hadn't expected me to know the full scope of her affair. She didn't say a word. Just stood there in the kitchen, staring at the floor like a child caught in a lie. Frozen. Silent. Still. It was the last reaction I expected. I thought she'd break down and cry. Maybe beg for forgiveness. Or get defensive and lash out. Maybe accuse me of having an affair of my own. But she did none of that. Instead, she quietly said, "Okay, let's sit down and talk." And so we stood there, in total silence. For 5 minutes, maybe longer. The two of us in that kitchen, just staring into space, unsure of how to continue. I'd never experienced anything so strange in my life. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I built a life with, was now a stranger standing 10 feet away, and we both had nothing left to say. I had prepared for this. Read every comment. Jotted down thoughts. Rehearsed in front of a mirror like I was studying for a final exam. I thought I was ready for any possible outcome, but not for this empty, quiet void. So I started talking. I told her everything I'd pieced together. I mentioned how I assumed it all began, how her sister might have helped cover it up, how the pandemic probably played a role. I might have gotten parts wrong, but I laid it out anyway, trying to make sense of something that still felt so senseless. And still, she just stood there, looking at the floor. Not a word. As my frustration grew, I did everything I could to keep calm. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't curse. I just wanted answers. I wanted honesty. But all I got was silence. Eventually, the anger gave way to something heavier, something more painful. Sadness. The weight of it hit me all at once. So I asked her quietly, what did I do? What made her leave? Did she ever even love me? Was the man she cheated with really worth all this destruction? Nothing. No tears. No shouting. No explanations. She just stood there with her head down. Like a ghost. Like someone already gone. And as if that wasn't hard enough, that's when I realized the girls had heard everything. I'm an idiot. After weeks of doing everything I could to protect them, to shield them from the pain, I completely lost track of where they were during that confrontation. I let my emotions take the wheel, and I forgot that they were still in the house. Our oldest daughter came charging down the stairs, shaking with anger. She yelled loud. All that rage she'd been bottling up finally spilled over. My wife ran to the bedroom and locked the door behind her. That's where things stand now. Last night, as I was lying in bed, I could hear her crying through the walls. She sobbed for hours. Only our youngest has tried to talk to her. The other two want nothing to do with her right now. If I can find the strength, I plan to ask her to stay with her sister until the divorce is finalized. I don't want to live like this anymore. But legally, she still has every right to be here. The house is still her home. We've been doing okay, the girls and I, for the past couple of weeks. We were starting to fall into a routine. But now, with her back, everything feels off. Heavy. Like we're stuck again. And the truth is, you were all right. You saw her more clearly than I did. I was wrong about everything. About who she was. About the life we built. About what those memories meant. I actually believed she would fall apart, confess, beg for forgiveness. I thought she'd explain everything and show some kind of remorse. But she didn't. This woman, who once drove back to a farmer's market because she'd been given $10 too much in change, can't even look me in the eye now. I used to think I mattered to her. Maybe I never did. Today felt awful. Just flat out awful. The girls and I tried to carry on like we had the past 2 weeks, but with her back in the house, it's impossible. Every room feels smaller. Tense. I keep thinking, I just want to move on. I want to get through the divorce, the confrontations, the drama. I want to put all of this behind me. But how do you live with someone who shattered everything, especially when you've got kids in the middle of it? I know this is just the beginning of the hard part. Everyone keeps saying it'll get better, but from where I'm standing, that still feels a long way off. Every day, I'm doing my best to stay calm, to keep the peace for my daughters. But I don't know if I can keep this up for 3 more months. School starts before the divorce can even be finalized. This is my life now. This is where we are. I really appreciate the people who've stayed with me through this, reading, responding, just being here. I don't know if the worst is behind me or still ahead. But whatever comes next, I know I need help getting through it. Since she came back and I learned the full truth, I've been in a dark place. I'm doing everything I can to act like I'm okay, for my daughter's sake. I try to speak calmly. I try to think clearly. But tonight, I hit a wall. It came over me like a wave I couldn't dodge, and I broke down. She still hasn't hired a lawyer, even though the divorce is already in motion. I've been doing my best to stay civil, to keep things smooth, hoping maybe we can keep this uncontested and simple. But after tonight, I'm not so sure anymore. We've been living in the same house this whole week. Since she works close by, she spends Friday nights at her sister's place and comes home Sunday night. Her sister lives about an hour away, less if there's no traffic. This back and forth has become the new normal, but it's not really normal. She mostly keeps to herself, while the girls and I try to carry on like we did before. We eat meals, we talk, we even laugh sometimes. But in the evenings, when things slow down, there's always this lingering weight in the room. And while she and I still exchange a few polite words each night, the real conversation stopped a while ago. My oldest daughter and my wife haven't spoken in days. Their last interaction ended in shouting. And since then, they've both gone quiet. Right now, this distance between us feels like the only thing holding me together. I've been trying to follow the advice many of you have given, holding my boundaries, keeping my composure, staying respectful even when the air between us is heavy with things unsaid. Over the past 2 Fridays, she's come home from work, grabbed some things, and left for her sister's before I even made it back. But tonight was different. When I walked through the door, she was waiting for me in the kitchen. I tried to pass by, to keep it brief like I've been doing, but she gently reached for my hand and asked if I was really going to keep treating her this way just because she wasn't ready to talk about the affair. That was the first time she had ever mentioned it, since everything came crashing down nearly a month ago. I tried to walk away. I really did. But the girls weren't home, and something in me snapped. All the pain I've been burying came out. I unleashed everything, every ache, every betrayal, every piece of me that's been breaking in silence. I can't even remember everything I said. I just kept going until I lost track of time. My voice rose. I got animated. I broke down. I told her how much this has gutted me, how I wake up each day with a weight on my chest. I told her how I've been pretending to be strong for our daughters while barely holding myself together. And yeah, I cried again. After all the progress I thought I'd made, I let her get to me. I knew it might happen. I'd been bracing for it, but it still hit hard. Then, for the first time since this nightmare started, she broke down too. She cried, really cried. Ugly, uncontrollable sobs. And as much as I hate to admit it, part of me felt relief. Not because I wanted her to hurt, but because, for a moment, it felt like she understood. Like she finally saw the damage she'd done. All she could manage between sobs were a few broken words. I'm so sorry. Over and over again. Eventually, I left. I didn't wait for her to pull herself together. I just asked her not to bother me and walked away. She stayed in the kitchen for a while, then quietly packed up and left for her sisters. When the girls got home later, they could tell something had happened. It's hard to hide that kind of emotional wreckage. But I wasn't ready to explain, and I don't think they need to carry this part of it, at least not yet. I don't want to weigh down my younger two, especially when they've been slowly finding their footing again. And I don't want to add more fire to the anger already burning inside my oldest. I just hate this. I hate that I let myself break. I hate that I still care. Looking back, I wonder if she was finally trying to open up, to start explaining. But I didn't give her the chance. I blew up. And now, I'm left with this guilt sitting in my gut. And I know some people won't understand this part, but I'm worried about her. As awful as it all is, as much as she hurt me, she's still the mother of my kids. She's still human. And lately, she's been so alone, cut off, isolated, left to stew in her own guilt and shame. I'm disappointed in myself. I should have stayed calm. I should have walked past her and kept my mouth shut. But I didn't. I even snapped at my brother on the phone later. I've just been on edge. I'll try to reset on Monday. Try to do better. I'm only human. And yeah, as much as I regret it, I can't deny it felt good to finally say everything, to get it out. But now the regret has settled in, and I don't know whether I should reach out to her or just keep my distance. I'm a mess right now. Still, thank you for being here, for listening, for offering support when I've needed it most. We've started therapy, all of us. That's something. It's a small step in the middle of the chaos, but it's something. This road is harder than I imagined. I hadn't been online much lately. Honestly, I was trying to disconnect for a bit, hoping I'd start to feel better. But this week's been a setback. A heavy one. My wife has been trying hard. Apologizing constantly, crying, knocking on my door at night wanting to talk. She hasn't given me much space. Sometimes I talk to her, sometimes I don't. Most of the time, I just ignore her. I can't keep up with the emotional swings anymore. Then Wednesday night, I snapped again. Told her to leave me alone. And then last night, it happened again. She came to my room once the girls had gone to sleep. This time, she asked if we could talk in private. I didn't want to risk repeating my earlier mistake, so I fed her first, kept things calm. Then we went to the garage and sat in my car. It was the only quiet place left. We sat out there for 3 hours. She talked. She told me everything. I'm not sure how much of it I'm ready to share yet. Afterward, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up listening to her cry through the walls again. And I cried too. I'd go from heartbreak to anger in seconds, fighting the urge to walk in there and scream, then collapsing into tears. So here I am now, just trying to get this off my chest so maybe I can rest for a few hours. Her apologies, her begging for another chance, it's nonstop. I even had to leave the house tonight just to get some air, to get away from it all. I'm drained. I'm tired. And I'm still lost. But I'm trying. Simply being near her, it hurts. Every second around her feels like reopening a wound that hasn't even started to scab over. She told me it all started about 5 years before COVID. Her sister introduced her to him, her affair partner. No romantic intentions, or so they said. He was a higher-up at the company she wanted to work for, and she convinced herself that her interest in the job had nothing to do with him. But looking back, that wasn't the full story. Not even close. Once she got the job, the flirting started. First a few texts, then pictures, then more texts. And right before the pandemic, things turned physical. She told her sister about it, wanted to confess to me, she said, but instead, she stayed quiet. According to her, she went no contact once lockdowns hit, but as soon as restrictions eased, he reached out, and she went right back. It wasn't just one slip. It wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern, a choice, over and over again. She said she tried ending it a few times after that, claimed guilt would get to her. But she always ended up going back. The affair never truly stopped. She laid it all out that night. A 5-page handwritten confession. Every detail. Every lie. Weekend trips she claimed were for bonding with the girls. Work travel that didn't exist. Traffic delays. Family drama. Excuses stacked on top of excuses, also she could be with him. And the worst part? I believed every word of those lies when she told them. I trusted her without hesitation. Hearing the truth crushed me in ways I didn't expect. The betrayal wasn't just about the physical part. It was how easily she manipulated reality to make room for someone else behind my back. She swore she never stopped loving me. Said she never became distant, never treated me cold, not even at the height of it. And maybe that's true. Maybe that's what makes this so hard. I didn't see it coming. She admitted she fell for him. Said she imagined a life with him. He was older, divorced, single. Promised her luxury, travel, things she said she never had. She told me family life started to feel dull to her. That the predictability of our world made her crave something exciting. Something new. She said all of this through tears, or real ones, I think. She was vulnerable, emotional, wide open. But halfway through her story, I broke down again. I lost it. I cried. I got angry. I couldn't sit there and just absorb it without reacting. It hurt. God, it hurt. When she finally finished, she told me she still loved me. That she always would. That she'd do anything to try and save our marriage. I knew it was coming. Many of you predicted it. But in that moment, it felt so rehearsed, so empty. After spending more than half my life with her, I know when she's being sincere. And I could tell, this wasn't that. I was more in control than I'd been the week before, but I still said some things I regret. I threw a few sharp jabs. I mocked her affair partner, said she wasn't the only one he had lined up, that he would have tossed her aside like the rest. She didn't like that. Got real quiet. Later, a question I'd been holding on to finally made its way out. If AP were still alive, and she had to choose between him and me, who would she pick? She hesitated. Whispered, "That's not fair." I pressed her. She finally said, "You." Of course, you. I didn't believe her. I told her that's exactly why I'm filing for divorce. Because I still can't trust a word she says. She cried again. And we just sat there, in that car, parked in the garage, surrounded by all the echoes of what used to be us. Eventually, I told her it was over. That we owed it to our girls to stay in their lives, be good parents, and keep things civil. I said I hoped, after everything, she'd at least be decent enough to go through this divorce fairly. That maybe, just maybe, how she handles this ending would show me something real. Not the lies. Not the performance. Just basic human decency. And no, I'm not proud of how I said it. Some of the words weren't mine. I'd read them somewhere online, but they felt right. And I meant everyone. Before I left the car, I told her that if none of this had happened, I would have loved her forever. Then I kissed her on the forehead, got out, and went to bed. That was it. I didn't sleep much last night. And tonight, it's the same. I just keep going in circles in my mind, trying to find solid ground. There's a part of me that feels relieved, like now that it's all out in the open, she can't twist the truth anymore. She can't fight the divorce. But then I cry again. Then I spiral. Then I get angry. Rinse and repeat. Maybe I didn't need to hear all the details. Maybe I could have walked away without knowing. But hearing it did help me connect the dots. It matched everything I'd been uncovering on my own over the past month. Still, it's endless. I'll have a few solid days, feel a little stronger, and then out of nowhere, it hits again. A conversation, a memory, the sound of her voice, even silence. It drags me back down. It's only been days since that talk, but it feels like months have passed. I'm exhausted. I want to rest, but my brain won't let me. And you know what really breaks me? Imagine the one woman you've ever loved, your first kiss, your only kiss, your best friend, telling you she cheated on you for over 4 years because she was bored. No relationship problems. No fights. No dead bedroom. No drifting apart. Just boredom. I don't even know if that makes it better or worse. Thank you for listening. It's been a couple of terrible nights, but your support, it's kept me going. Truly.
Thank you for watching. Share your impressions in the comments. Have a great day.